We out the projects, baby. Where we gonna live at, son? Central Park West somewhere? What you gonna buy your mama, son?
How much?
A big house. It's the will of the man. It ain't the skill of the man. Don't be afraid of nobody. Take it. Take
Go
it.
strong, baby.
Like nobody's better than you.
You have a son named Jesus Shuttlesworth? Is your son considered the #1 high school prospect in these United States?
He's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
The governor's made a request that your son seriously consider enrolling in his alma mater, Big State. The governor's given me his word. He'll do everything in his power to cut your time here short. The NC2A deadline is 1 week away. 2 parole officers will be assigned to you.
Yeah, I guess I better get working now, huh? Hello, son.
What did I tell you about letting strangers in the house?
He's not a stranger. He's our father.
I don't have a father.
Look, I need to talk to you.
You'll see me around.
The man escaped just like Shawshank.
Why beat around the bush? We love you.
It's $10,000.
I don't need that money, Coach.
You can look like Buddy Hackett and drive down the street with this and have 40 girls chasing you.
Oh, Jesus.
I want you to go to Big State, son. You find it in your heart to go to Big State, they may let me out on an early parole. I got that arthritis thing.
My brother's got the same arthritic condition. It's going around here in Coney Island.
Yeah. It's contagious. But
Why in the hell did you name me Jesus anyway? What type of name is that? Jesus!
It's a biblical name.
No kidding.
I pray that you understand why I put you. I was the one who put the ball in your crib.
I ain't no baby no more.
Dear Lord, deliver Jesus to us.
People make mistakes. People veer off the path. So what? God forgives them. When will you?
Never. Ooh.
I bet he can finally beat you.
One-on-one?
And this will be the most important decision in your life.
Don't blow it.
Charge the fence. Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast. It is the first week of basketball.
It would charge the fence. You don't charge an electric like it's plugged in. It's like a continual current. It's not like
well, then I don't. Maybe it's given back to the grid if you got one of those reverse meters. Anyway, we watched He Got Game, starring one Denzel Washington and starring not Kevin Garnett, who would have been totally available in the right age, but instead we got Raymond Allen.
Who's a great basketball player, not a very good actor.
Mila Jovovich,
who's a great
Rosario
basketball
Dawson,
player,
who's a great basketball player. And possibly one of the worst Italian American actors in the history of both Italy and acting, who played, I don't know, Bumpy Magoo or whatever his name was with his fancy house and multiple cars.
About Roger Governor Smith or whatever?
What was his name? That was like Dom Pagliotti.
We're talking about like the agent that tried to sell him.
I thought you were talking
That guy. Oh my God, that guy is hilariously horrible. He sounds like an infomercial.
So, fun fact before we get into it, he has done, I think, exclusively Spike Lee movies. That's his entire IMDb. And this character, Dom Pagliotti or whatever, it shows up in, I guess, because we found out Spike Lee had something to do with like NBA 2K16.
I wanted to ask Sean about that.
Yeah.
Sean, you play the NBA 2K games, don't you?
Yeah.
Did he do like is it from what I gathered, just reading briefly? So Spike Lee wrote the campaign mode in 2K16.
Have you ever played like the newer Maddens, like the last like 3 years or so?
Yeah.
You know that like horrific story mode that they've got?
Yeah.
Well, that's like a version of the 2K story mode. Like, so when you do a single player, it's not like the show where it's just kind of like stats and go.
Right. It's like a story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured it was from, I would gather that it's kind of like a takeoff of this.
Well, canonically, it happens in the same universe.
Yeah. It's, if I recall correctly, and I haven't played this one in a while, the main character in that, that you play is nicknamed Frequency Vibrations, which is a name that only Spike Lee would come up with.
I kind of love it.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's Moses Shuttlesworth,
70s like kind of basketball world be free sort of thing.
There we go.
Anyway, let's get into it. What did you all watch this week, Alec?
I only watched one thing.
One thing.
It was it's a movie. It's called Guava Island.
Oh, that's
and it's
came out a couple months ago, right?
It's Donald Glover and Rihanna.
Yeah,
it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Now
it was an Amazon original.
You're breaking up a little bit now, bud.
Well, I didn't do anything.
Interesting. Okay, continue.
It's an Amazon. It's an Amazon original. It's about Donald Glover and Rihanna grow up on this island. This island used to be like a beautiful tropical paradise, and it still kind of is, but also there's like capitalism there, and the guy who runs the island makes all the islanders work all day, every day. And Donald Glover is like a fun-loving guy, and he wants to have a concert so that the workers can relax for a night and chill out. And the head guy does not want him to do that. Pretty simple story, but it's really good. And like Donald Glover is like, I feel like when you just let him do whatever he wants, he does really creative stuff most of the time. And this follows that. It's only an hour long. It's fucking great.
It's kind of like a musical too, or no?
Kind of. It's got like it's got songs in it and singing in it. He sings a few songs. The "This Is America" song he sings in it.
Does the Banana Boat song come in? The Harry Belafonte song?
No,
not the jingle for the sunscreen of the same name.
No.
What?
But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was really, really interesting, and like I hope Donald Glover keeps doing. Like obviously he's diversifying his portfolio because he does everything. He does movies, TV, makes music, and he's excellent at all of it.
Yeah, he's
so I'm always curious to see what he wants to do and does do next. At the beginning of it, there's this really like outstanding animation sequence that is just out of this world. But yeah, that's all I watched. Gogs.
I watched 4 things.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I really went for it. One of them is tabled, and so I'll transition right into TJ afterwards, and then 3 of them
transition into me.
All 3 of them. The other 3 are rewatches, so I'll be brief. Upgrade still kicks ass. Psycho Gorman still kicks ass.
Oh, I also watched that, so that was the one thing I watched.
Still kicks ass. It's like 2 months old.
Yeah, but he's still doing it.
You guys remember? This is semi-related. One of you in our group chat sent the poster where Psycho Gorman sticking his head out of the mailbox. Like it was like it looked like a '90s video cover, and it was like the family. Psycho Gorman. So I actually just randomly came across the movie The House Guest with Sinbad.
Oh yeah.
And that poster is a parody of that post. I had no idea.
That's funny.
It looked like like an early '90s but then I saw that poster like, oh, they were riffing off that. That's pretty awesome.
Another thing. I think only TJ will care about this. Like, you know how Rich Evans or whatever's one of the monsters?
Yeah, the bucket of gore monster or whatever.
One of the other monsters, I forget which one, is Stuart Wellington from the Flop House. You remember that podcast?
Oh, yeah. I used to listen to that all the time. I kind of fell off with that.
Good old Psycho Gorman. That movie keeps on giving.
Card scene makes me laugh so hard.
Every time this is the 3rd time I've watched this movie since it's come out. And every time the dad just gets funnier and funnier and funnier.
Yeah, I legit love that movie a lot.
I'd love to help you, but it's like 7:30 and I'm falling asleep on the fucking love seat.
I stand there like, I'd love to do it, but I'm just too lazy.
You know what I did? I made a great meal for my family.
You're welcome.
they show that microwave.
You know how much I hate that word? My parents used it. My teachers used it, and now you, Susan.
I love the scene where Psycho Gorman shows up to him on the toilet. He's like, I don't know where that is.
He's just weeping. It's so good. Anyway,
everyone's in hell.
Yeah, Psycho Gorman is just a triumph. We all agree.
I hope now that theaters are opening back up, or I have opened up. But I hope like the repertory scene like starts to get going again, and I'd love to see somebody show that in a theater. I'd love to see that.
We should do Movie the Podcast hosts a viewing of Psycho Gorman at the Auto Bar and just and just and then we'll just mail them some cookies. We'll just send we'll send them something.
Not a bad idea. I might be able to get that arranged. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. It would have been great at the Draft House if they would have stopped raping everybody and got all those theaters not shut down.
Oh, yeah. Anyway. And then the last thing I watched, the last thing I watched before the thing me and TJ are going to talk about, I don't know why, I think this is on HBO Max, and I felt like hurting myself. I rewatched the Friday the 13th remake from like 2009.
Yeah, that's not good.
I was like, maybe, because we saw it in the theaters.
We did. I remember us going.
Kind of liking it in the theater, though.
I don't know. I couldn't remember what my opinion was. I feel like it had soured on. I couldn't remember. But then I rewatched it, and it is just so tremendous amount of titty, like so much, and it's excellent. But like the rest of that movie is so the kills aren't even creative. No. Like they're bland, and like Jason, he runs. Jason should never run. He's acting like a hunter, and he sets traps. Jason doesn't do that. Like he doesn't. These are not the things he does.
Yeah, it kind of robs him of like that supernatural kind of.
Right, like he's like an unstoppable force. Like he's just sort of like this creep. Like he took a hostage. Jason never takes a hostage. He doesn't have a home base. I just assume he materializes.
Yeah, they made him Rambo.
Yeah, like I think they tried to make him more like Leatherface, and then they sort of tried to make him more like Michael Myers, and they tried to make him semi-relatable, which who gives a fuck? That's not what I'm here for.
That relatable thing is like it's the stink of that like early 2000s remake thing, because they did the same thing with the Texas Chainsaw thing, where they're like, they did the one Texas Chainsaw remake, and then they made the sequel that was a prequel, and it was like, oh, you found out that Leatherface had like a skin condition, and it's like, who could ever give a fuck?
It's also when they tried to make Michael Myers relatable by having a foresight, and they'll a child or whatever.
Well, then they went the exact opposite with Nightmare on Elm Street, because they didn't just make Freddy Krueger a child murderer; they made him like a pederast. Like they just they leaned.
Well, he coded as a pederast in the original.
Well, he's explicitly a pederast in the one with Rorschach or whatever.
And I feel like that. I don't know. As a connoisseur, if you will, of the Nightmare movie, I think it's pretty clear that he was a pedophile.
Fair, but
he's always trying to touch kids' junk in their dreams.
Yeah, it's not explicit the way it is in the remake, though.
Because they beat you over the head with it.
Yeah, that's fine. I remember hating the remake. I remember seeing it once in the theater and absolutely hating it, but I don't remember anything about it.
I'll revisit that too.
I remember the design of Freddy wasn't bad.
No,
I remember
the stills of him. Jackie Earle Haley look good.
He's fine for what he has to work with, which isn't very much.
They should have just gotten Robert Englund. He could still pull it off.
I think he's still doing it.
He wants to do another one. He's come out and said he wants to do one. I would be in for that. Yeah. I mean, he's got to wear all that makeup. He'd be fine.
You might not even need the makeup anymore.
Well, it's not like Freddy Krueger's going to do like fucking karate kicks and shit.
Yeah.
I'd be into that. Though.
I take it
like
back.
If they made an Indonesian Nightmare on Elm
They need no. They need
the nightmare comes for us.
It's got to be Stephen Chow's Nightmare on Elm Street.
So now it's just all dancing and hatchets and like. All right, but anyway, yeah, like that 2009 remake of Friday the 13th is just a fucking bomb. I'm glad. Did they ever make one after that, or was that one such a?
That was it.
It made a lot of money. I think.
I think like
that Platinum Dune shit. They made all those movies like roughly around the same time within 3 or 4 years. I think.
I mean, that thing cost 19 and it made 92. Like, and there's no reason they shouldn't have made more.
I think that company like. I don't know. I don't know what something happened with them on a production side, because y'all are right. Those movies all made a lot of money, but they just kind of stopped making them.
And Michael Bay produced this one, which I always thought
Platinum
was wild.
Dunes is his production company.
But anyway, so then I watched that.
It's not wild. He just wants to make money. Like he's like.
This wasn't Platinum Dunes. This was. It was so many. It was New Line, Paramount, Platinum Dunes.
That's Michael Bay's production company, Platinum Dunes.
Oh, so then the other thing I watched with TJ, we watched what turns out to be, to bury the lead, my second favorite non-Nolan DC movie, Birds of Prey.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna go out and say that I was shocked that this movie wasn't awful.
Blown away.
Well, I mean, it's a real low bar with DC movies, but I actually walked away with it kind of liking it. I was surprised. I have my issues with it. Like, I hate how the story is told. Like, how but it's fun, and the action scenes are cool, and it's goofy, and it leans into how stupid it is. Like, I don't know. I think
they captured everything they were trying to capture with Suicide Squad, like to be as close to Guardians as you could get, and they pulled it off to a much greater degree of success.
I felt like this was trying to be Deadpool, like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But
I didn't care for it a whole lot, but I did enjoy what's her face is Renee Montoya.
Rosie Perez.
And I mean, I liked. I think it's funny because like the movie, like goes out of its way to code Black Mask and Victor Zsasz as gay lovers, but they can't go full commitment and actually make them gay. Mm-hmm. They just like every scene is them like mincing around, and then when
it's like Hard Target with
it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, but it's even worse in this because when fucking smoking ass Journey Smollett shows up, and like he's talking, fucking Ewan McGregor's talking to her, like Zaz is like freaking out, like that he's like lost his attention. It's like I don't know. Overall though, I came in with that movie with like the lowest expectations,
incredibly low, and
I kind of liked it. I wish they would have told it linearly.
Yeah,
like there's no like to steal a Gogsism. Like the way they tell it, there's no stakes because they it's like, well, this happened and let me tell you about this. Like I wish you could have done away with all that. The plot's simple enough where you could have just told it in a normal fashion. I don't know why they decided to cut it up into pieces.
But on the plus side,
like it was their last resort.
On the plus side, the plot is fine and the story makes sense. It's a straight narrative and you get it. And Margot Robbie, everyone was fun in it. I really liked is it Mary? I always get her name wrong. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
Like her character's kind of like on the spectrum a little bit, like doesn't know how to behave around people. Like I don't know. It was a lot of fun, and fucking Ewan McGregor was like chomping through scenery like a fucking Langolier. Like he was just like gnawing it up.
And him exploding at the end was fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, that was fucking great.
Fucking hilarious.
I think if you like that movie, you should really check out the animated series because it has a similar premise about her trying to get out of the Joker's shadow.
I need to watch. Is that on Max now?
Yeah,
because that's not handcuffed to the stupid DC app anymore.
No.
Is it also Birds of Prey, or is it just like Harley?
No, I think
it's her and Poison Ivy and Kite Man, and like it's got like every goofy like Condiment Man, and Jason Alexander plays a cyborg. Like it's fun.
Okay, that does sound fun.
I don't know. I think it's dumb they changed the title of the movie because it's really not even a Birds of Prey movie. Like it like kind of is by the end, but I don't know. The title change seems kind of strange to me. Overall, one thing I will say that did bother me is that like most of the action scenes are really cool and well shot, but then there's like one sequence where like there's a bunch of water and they decide to like do all this slow-mo, and it's just like no, go back to what you were doing before. Like it looked great. Like just go back to that. Like they'll I don't know. The director seemed like the director couldn't commit to one thing. I will say, but overall, not bad at it. I enjoyed it. Usually DC movies are like punishing, and this actually was kind of enjoyable. Again, I have to preface that you literally just have to get a C to be a good DC movie. Like you just have to make a movie I'm not like dreading watching.
It's one you don't hate.
No, I thought this was definitely better than Aquaman. Yeah, it's up there for DC movies.
I've yet to see Aquaman. I think I haven't seen Aquaman. I haven't seen either of the Wonder Woman standalones. I've seen the rest.
I don't like either one of those. The second
Aquaman's a blast.
I'm on Team Alec. I actually kind of enjoyed Aquaman.
I really felt it. Felt it just got it was way too long. It felt it's drug. I don't know.
And Shazam.
I love Shazam. That's my number one non-Nolan DC movie.
I need to watch Shazam. Anything else, guys?
No, TJ.
I just watched that with you, and I also watched the half thing I'll talk about real quick. I watched half of the Sweet Tooth show on Netflix. I'm a big fan of the comic book. The series is good. It goes pretty far off of the comic, but I mean, I don't mind it as long. It still feels like a faithful adaptation. Also, the comic book is a very straightforward story. I think you could tell the story in at least the first 2 trades of the comic in like 6 episodes.
That's Lemire.
Yeah, it's a Jeff Lemire comic. There's fun little Jeff Lemire nods in the series. Like this woman goes to a zoo and it's the Essex County Zoo. That's a nod to his comic book Essex County. They do a close up on a street that's Gideon Street. That's a nod to Gideon Falls, another one of his comics.
Is there any underwater welding?
There is no, not yet anyway. I'm not finished, but it's really good. It's kind of like how I felt about like the first season of The Walking Dead when Frank Darabont was involved. Like it feels like somebody that was like a competent. So far anyway, they might tank it in the last half of the thing, but it seemed like somebody who was like, or a team of good writers were like, hey, this is what we could do to kind of do some interesting things they didn't do in the comic. And so far, so good. I definitely recommend it. That's on Netflix. But that's all I watched. Sean, you haven't gone yet?
All I watched was Psycho Gorman in the basketball playoffs.
And that's everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, so I guess let's get into our feature presentation.
He got game, who got game?
Where's the game?
It ain't saying nothing if the game ain't nothing. What?
I bought that soundtrack.
It's a good soundtrack.
I bought it like a month before the movie came out because it was the newest Public Enemy album, because it is like a Public Enemy album. It's got like KRS Ones on it and stuff. But
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I wish that was more prevalent in the movie
and less classical music.
I hated all the fucking like Star Wars music throughout the majority of
the Gravy Train like jingle that was playing during that first night basketball game.
And I'm not saying that because it's just like you need to have hip hop in like a basketball movie, but like his choice to do like all this classical music, like it just plays just to play it. Like there's scenes like where I'm like not sure the choice of that because like there's like 2 characters in an argument, but then there's like Flight of the Bumblebee playing underneath of it, and that it's like what the hell am I like? I don't know. More Public Enemy, please, because those songs like. That was good. I remember that He Got Game song. I feel like they must have put that in the ads.
Yeah, it was a single.
I definitely remember that
because they used that fucking. It's not. Is it Crosby, Stills and Nash? What's the?
Yeah. Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah.
Which is still technically kind of Crosby, Stills and Nash because Steven Stills was in Buffalo Springfield.
Also in Sexball Bomb.
That's right. All right, let's get into it. Who wants to do the synopsis? This is gonna be a quick one because it's a pretty quick. Like every scene kind of repeats itself, but the overall plot is very fast. So, Alec.
Oh, come on!
I'll do it. If you don't want to do it, Alec, I'll do it. All right. Just kidding. We'll just keep passing back to each other, much like the basketballs in this movie. So
there's no traveling in your synopsis,
right? So movie opens and I think it opens in Attica. Does it open in Attica? I think it opens in Attica.
Nope. Pause. It opens with just shots of people playing basketball all over the country to varying levels of success. It's not even classical music. It's like a march. Like it's like a Sousa march playing over, and
it's a famous song. And Gogs is right; they used it as like it was like a Rice-A-Roni or some shit used it for an ad campaign.
It was for like like gravy or something. Yeah.
That one.
Well, that's not the one that plays at the very beginning. That plays later.
Right. That's later.
But right off the bat, it lost me with that. I was like, no.
God damn.
So
and like I'm okay. Like I feel like a basketball movie with a classical soundtrack wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but the choices he made with the classical music in this is the worst thing in the world. Like he picked terrible songs.
Like I know why he's doing it, but I agree it doesn't really work.
See, I think it could work if he had the right stuff. Like it didn't like the stuff he was playing during the scenes didn't have like a rhythm that like matched the energy of the scene.
That's a good way. That's a really good way to put it. That's an excellent way to put it.
So we see a bunch of gonzo footage of America's love affair with basketball. And then I guess then we go to Attica, or maybe we're looking at Jesus. It's one of the two.
Shoot at Gonzo.
We're shooting at Gonzo.
Basketball.
So we're at Attica, and then eventually, right, we're at Attica, and we meet Jake Shuttlesworth out there doing shooty hoops by himself in the yard. Under the watchful supervision of a guy who's just waiting for a reason to pull the trigger. And then you find out the warden wants to talk to him. So then squeal like a pig, Ned Beatty is like, hey, I like basketball. You like basketball. Know who loves basketball? Governor loves basketball. Your kid's pretty good at basketball. He should go play at Big State. And that's a real name of a college in this universe.
Well, it's not that he's pretty good. He's the number one. He's
he
the
is
number one.
LeBron James. If you're not familiar with this movie, or Zion Williamson, or whoever, like the recent, next god of basketball is
Sam Bowie.
Yep, Sam Bowie, a name I feel like you just learned yesterday.
Gogs must have actually.
Sam Bowie's father is
Gogs he must have actually been on Facebook and looking at Sean's Facebook post.
Oh wait, did Sean post about Sam Bowie?
Yeah, literally like yesterday.
Cool. Right on.
Sam Baba Bowie.
Yeah.
Baba Booey, Kleindrachter's penis.
The only full disclosure, the only reason I know about Sam Bowie is I think because of a Jay-Z line where he claims that everyone else is Sam Bowie. I'm like, who's I was like, the inventor of the knife who died at the Alamo?
What that
isn't that like a liqueur?
No, I know. That's Dram Bowie.
Dram Bowie.
Sam Bowie's the guy that got drafted ahead of Jordan.
Correct, and Charles Barkley.
Yeah. So he's like the biggest bust in basketball history.
Comparatively, yes, but
he really wasn't. He wasn't even
his heart.
Yeah.
that one.
Shout out to cocaine.
Yeah, he wasn't like a bust in as much as just like what could have been. Like.
Yeah, I mean, how many rings did he get? Like 6?
It's like what's his name? Wasn't like Ryan Leaf taken before like Peyton Manning?
Nah, he was taking number 2, but it was very back and forth. Like they weren't sure who was going to take who.
Yeah,
and like anybody who says they knew he was going to be bad is an idiot because it was like split. Like people were like.
Every report was like Leaf has the better physical skills, Manning has the better intangibles, like that kind of thing.
Right. Anyway.
So Jesus Shuttlesworth, who you later found it's not named after the savior of all mankind, but a fellow from like Detroit, Philadelphia.
Also from like the biblical Jesus. If you're a Mormon, I believe he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, both Jesuses in this case are from Philadelphia, whether you're a Mormon or an avid basketball fan. And so Ned Beatty's like, hey, listen, if you can get Jesus to commit to Big State, and it's like commitment week, right? He's got to make a decision by Sunday, so that sets your time period. You're allowed, with the governor, he'll jerk you off emotionally and let you get out of prison early. So
it's important to point out that he's serving a 15-year prison sentence. So
he's 5 years in on a 20-year.
Oh yeah. He'll be in there for 15 more years.
That's
what I meant to say.
So instead of just
because his wife is incredibly clumsy.
Yeah, scene. We'll get to it later.
Oh my god!
We had to pause the movie.
We had to pause the movie because I couldn't stop laughing.
TJ fell out. It broke him.
It was one of those times. I mean, we've had it on the show. There's sometimes I get the giggle bug and I can't stop. I couldn't. It was those laughing so hard that I had to stop myself because I couldn't breathe.
It wasn't laughter; it was cackling. It was
funny. That woman falling into that sink face first looked like a fucking Tim and Eric bit. I was waiting for the boing sound effect. I can't imagine how that was the best take that they had. It was, oh my god. I mean, it might it's going to get an extra point because that made me laugh harder than anything we watched on the show. Gogs was there; he witnessed it. I could not stop laughing. It was the funniest thing I've seen in months.
It was something. It made my enjoyment of the film more.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway,
we're 15 seconds into the movie.
So now Ned Beatty's like, listen, instead of just letting you out because we have all the power in the world to do so, and I guess based on the way that they ended the movie, I see why they did it. But in the moment, they have this Ocean's 11 level like plot to like get him out of prison. They couldn't just say, "Oh, we're transferring him to another prison." So they make, not only did they didn't fake food poisoning, they made him get food poisoning so that then he could ship his ass out to Coney Island.
Well,
And
it's not so much that like they can't say they're transferring him, as like they have to be able to explain to the people in the neighborhood why this guy got out on murder in 5 years or whatever. That's the reason for the whole setup, not so much the.
Well, couldn't they just fake the food poisoning and then let him go? Like,
Right, and also they didn't like at the end. Like here, we'll jump to the end right now. At the end, they're like escaped murderer. What was it? Joseph Shuttlesworth. What was it? Jesus' dad.
Jake.
What was his Jake Shuttlesworth? He's like, we was picked up in Coney Island. So I guess, and they even point to that, like all the other members of the Lincoln Rail Splitters. And I want a Lincoln Rail Splitters t-shirt, might I add.
Real high school.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Is it really?
Yeah, it's where Stephon Marbury went.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
it was
that.
made up.
That's why Stephon Marbury gets mentioned 38 times in the movie.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Like he's running around for a week and nobody's like, there's not even like one news report about Jake Shuttlesworth on the loose. Beware. Like, so anyway.
Pause real quick.
Go ahead.
How often does the news report on happenings in the ghetto by name?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Is it none? It must be none.
The answer's gonna be none.
Okay. So now Jake is out of Coney Island. He's with two police officers, the black one who you should get along with just fine, according to Ned Beatty, and the quiet one.
It's Jim Brown, who was good to see. It was good to see him show up. He's fun.
Yeah.
I think Jim Brown's a lot of fun in this movie.
He's good in this movie, yeah. I thought he was good.
And the other cop that looks like the intern from The Office, I can never remember that guy's name.
BJ Novak, yeah, he does look like that.
So they take him to Coney Island, and they set him up in, like, I don't know, some sort of hooker stable. Where he's making grilled cheeses. Where he's making grilled cheeses using paper bags and an iron.
He should have called him Grilled Jesus.
So
I didn't think I was going to get away.
No, I like that one. And he's just through a very thin wall from just fucking Lilu just getting smashed to bits on the reg.
Pause.
Yes.
I want a last action hero situation. Like me personally, I want to go into the movie world where Mila Jovovich is like a $10 hoe. Like this is like this turns this movie into like a high fantasy.
I know, but who are they gonna like? Are they gonna cast fucking Lena Dunham? You know what I mean? Like it's still a movie.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing: they didn't bother casting anyone who could act for any other role.
Shut up, guys. Yes. Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
Oh. You remember when Lena Dunham thought Odell Beckham was gay because he didn't look at her at a party? You remember when that was a thing?
Yeah, she said a lot of weird shit. Yeah, and I watched that. I still stand by that first season of Girls wasn't bad, but what are you gonna do?
So then the rest of the movie is just a collection of scenes of Ray Allen reading something off screen and then reading it in front of the camera.
That's why he has so many notes in the movie.
Really?
He's just reading his lines.
Yeah, he's never acted before. Yeah, I would thought.
Like every scene, somebody hands him something. Like, look at this.
No
Read
kidding.
this.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm just assuming.
Yeah, no, Alex totally right. Like you can see, there's even a scene where when Bill Nunn, because like this is like a expendable Spike Lee movie where everybody that's in all of his movies is in it. Bill Nunn's there with his wife. She's reading off of something too because she has forgotten a line. Like she's holding a pocketbook or something. You can see her looking at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just gonna say that this movie is filled with horrendous actors. Like I don't know.
It's not a bad actor.
I'm gonna disagree, and I know you're not gonna agree with me, but there's a certain pitch to Spike Lee movies, and it's a lot like, not in the same kind of way, but you know how like people act very oddly in David Lynch movies and stilted and weird.
Yeah, sure.
Like most of Spike Lee movies up until like I guess The Inside Man have this kind of thing where the performances are like way over the top. Like they're not subtle movies at all.
No, it's all super text.
I mean that's fair if that's what he was going for, but
if he's going for that, he nailed it.
I find it like very distracting.
You've seen these people in other movies act really well. You know what I mean? And
well, yeah,
bitches and stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I just felt like we haven't talked about Jesus' sister. I felt like she was awful. And then when
cousin was fun. The cousin
don't
was
know,
fun.
like-
Booger was fun.
You got to remember, this movie is from 1997, and this is like how kids talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not great, but like,
I think it's the combination of Ray Allen and her together.
It's tough.
There's this scene where Jesus. This happens a little later in the movie after Denzel Washington introduces himself to them, but she's basically, this is one of the hundreds of scenes where somebody is talking to Ray Allen about all the fortune and wealth they're going to have, because they repeat that beat like over and over and over and over
That's
again.
the whole movie.
Yeah. So anyway, but they're like having like a normal conversation about her doing like her math homework, and then she's like, yeah, and then we're gonna buy a house, and then like Ray Allen doesn't know how to like change his, like, he doesn't understand how to like emote right, so he goes from like smiling happy like, homework's right, to like, I don't know what he's trying to do.
we ain't rich, we ain't shit.
It was like, what the fuck is it? It's like, again, it's like a guy, like, I know, like, I just don't understand why he cast Ray Allen.
I understand
so
why,
bad.
but,
Like,
they
also,
they passed him to the basketball, would seem more authentic, but there's not enough of it.
I will propose
his performance.
something
You know what I mean?
different. I will propose something different.
Basketball's like the hardest sport to make look real if you're not good at it.
I will say,
case in point, Denzel Washington shooting jumpers at the beginning, and holding the ball like behind his head to start a shot.
Form is whack as hell.
Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, because basketball hood movies were big for a while. Like, in Above the Rim, they're all playing on 9-foot baskets, and it's super distracting.
Yeah.
So it is very like, you need a certain kind of athleticism to fake it.
I will propose something. Later on in the film, we're introduced to Rick Fox, who's also a basketball player. He's a much better actor.
Rick Fox looks like he is 45 years old. Like, I don't buy him as a college student, let alone a high school student.
But I thought he was good in the movie.
At
Technical University.
I felt like he had a lot more presence in his few scenes that he's in this movie.
He has acted a lot more.
Yeah.
Like,
Even back then, at that point,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. He was on some like adult soap opera type show. I forget what it was, like a nighttime show.
I'm pretty sure he went into like TV stuff post basketball too.
Yeah.
Like he like has a production company or something.
But Ray Allen's like 22 when this movie comes out, maybe 21, because he's out of Connecticut already. Mm-hmm. But you can buy him as a high school student. Rick Fox looks fucking ridiculous.
That's fair.
That's why he had his hat on backwards.
Yeah,
like,
he's got that
hello, fellow kids,
in a porno aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like,
well, all I'm saying is we found out later in life, hindsight's 2020, that Kevin Garnett never acted in shit, and he was amazing in Uncut Gems. And Kevin Garnett is 1 year older than Ray Allen, so this should have been Kevin Garnett's movie.
But also, Kevin Garnett, when he was Ray Allen's age, looked like he was in his 30s.
Yeah. Also, Kevin Garnett cannot pass for half Hispanic, which I think is important to the script for some reason or another.
Yeah. Also, I feel like, I don't know. Like, we can argue, I guess, that the Safdie brothers maybe aren't as good a directors as Spike Lee, but I don't think anybody's going to argue that the Safdie brothers are not better writers than Spike Lee. That script for Uncut Gems is airtight.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. This is like I'm like a big Spike Lee stan, so like my opinion should not be counted for a whole lot. But like I like a lot about this movie, and like Do the Right Thing, which is a movie that got nominated for Best Picture, is just like this. Like, it is not subtle. Everybody's acting super weird. But it kind of throws back to New York you don't see anymore. It feels more like an Abel Ferrara kind of New York than anything else does, you know what I mean? And it's super neon. You can tell, and then I looked it up later. Refn was a big Spike Lee fan, because there are a lot of like straight neon, like weird one-shots that are lifted like straight wholesale from his movies.
Anyway, we are... What
does it matter? Because now we're in the middle of the movie. So there's three parts to this movie. There's the beginning where they have the stupid breakout scene. The entire middle you can show in any order you damn well please, because it is just people going up to Ray Allen going, "Where are you going to go to school, Ray Allen?" He goes, "I don't know yet." And then the scene ends, and then the next scene happens. It's like, "Hey, where are you going to go to school? Here's my thoughts on the matter." It's like, "You don't trust, or you don't love me. You just love the money I'm going to give you." Yeah. And then the scene ends.
And then the next scene happens. Rosario Dawson, who's like literally like fucking another guy on the phone, and
she is awful in this movie. By the way, like
she looks fantastic.
Oh yeah,
And is there in this, like, I don't know, maybe I was drunk or high. I watched.
Were you
this.
high? That would be amazing.
Hell yeah!
No, high on ecstasy.
Holy shit! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He was at home listening to Kiyoki watching fucking He Got Game.
But the scene where they're at the agent's house.
Yeah.
Was that still Rosario Dawson? I feel like they
Yes.
replaced her with somebody that looked very
that was
similar
her.
for like a
She
scene.
she does look bizarre in that scene. I know what you're talking about because like her hair is different. Like her costuming is totally different than it is in the rest of the movie.
Also, Ray Allen is like so nonplussed for like most of this. It's like my girlfriend's hanging out with this dude and like swimming together in the pool. It's like
He's walking
kind of
around
doesn't
with.
give a fuck though.
He's
Honestly.
walking around with Joey Bag of Donuts, looking at a bunch of Ferraris, while Rosario Dawson's getting finger blasted in the pool by this other
You gotta
guy.
talk about how great Ray Allen's delivery of how much his watch cost.
$89.95.
He's so
I did like
excited.
that. That was charming.
It was cute. Also, like before you run it over, there is like I think a legitimately great scene in the second act of this movie, and it is the flashback to him playing basketball with his father.
Yeah,
when
that was
he's
good.
a little kid.
Well, the one that leads up to the funniest murder of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that scene is tremendous. It has like a half Hispanic whose father would come home drunk and square up with him like he was a grown man. Like I really felt that scene.
No, that was like
lot.
some of the stuff is not bad. It's just done bad. Like
Well,
the
you know what?
ideas aren't terrible.
You know what I do like about Washington's performances? He's kind of doing a proto Alonzo, whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah,
but it's not as like super cornball goofy. Like it fits this movie better for some reason than it does Training Day.
It's not as arch all the time. It just slips into being arch like occasionally. Like as the week goes on. So here's the thing. So over the week, right, for dear listeners, over the week, Jake Shellsworth needs to try and get back into Jesus' good graces and convince him to sign a letter of intent to go to Big State because but Jesus doesn't want to talk to him because he killed his mom in the funniest shove and smash of all time.
It's so funny.
But like over the course of the week, right? Like Jake gets kind of more and more desperate, and he gets more and more angry, and he gets more and more like he kind of starts losing his cool, and
he also develops a relationship with the hooker next door, which you can cut completely out of the movie because it doesn't go anywhere.
But then
it goes somewhere.
I mean, I guess
it goes up her butt.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Hold on, we need to talk about that.
Pants.
We need to talk about this. What did he come in his pants, or did he fuck her with his pants on?
I thought
he jail fucked her. That's the whole point of the scene. Like he's barely got it out. He's like fuck her before the guard comes fucking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then bust like in 2 seconds.
I mean, that's fine. I would have busted in 2 seconds too.
Yeah, fair. So I guess that's the most realistic part of this film. So then, but then, like the whole movie is just people trying to woo Jesus in in the most no one. The only person, like the only character in the movie that seems to actually have any care, that seems to genuinely give a shit about him.
Mm-hmm.
I guess other than his sister is his aunt. Everyone else, their motives are on Front Street. They don't even they're not even subtle about it. Like even I did have one question because I don't know if I just missed.
His dad cares about him. I feel like that's
he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
You didn't take away that
does.
from the movie.
I mean, I think he cares about him, but he cares about getting out of prison too.
No.
Oh no. You,
Oh, then
I don't know how
read
you
wrong.
didn't read that. Like no,
I think the way I read it was the same time frame that his dad was trying to get him to open up. His dad was also realizing that he cares about him.
Yeah. Well, no,
the
I
same
mean,
way.
Yeah.
I don't.
You're better at movies than I am.
I don't know because it's very much implied, especially in the scene where he opens that box. He's like, "I threw away all your shitty letters." There's like 5,000 letters in that box. Like it is very much implied that he cares about his kid prior to.
Yeah, I think
the idea is that like he is able to go at least like reconcile a little bit with his son. That's more why he's doing it because like he knows he can't beat him one-on-one. Like he understands that, you know what I mean? But he has to like as.
But he wants to have that moment to drive it, like to just drive home, like
even the
how good I've made you, and just have that connection with him over.
But if he truly cared about his kid, he never would have given him the paperwork to begin with to get him out early. He would have just.
So that was my take on it, right? I would just give him his blessing and his advice, right?
Given him his advice.
I don't
but
know
not
that
put like a price on it.
I don't know that to be the case because they very clearly set up that he's being followed by these guys the whole time. So he has to make some kind of show, but otherwise they're itching to bring him back to prison the whole movie. You know,
or shoot him overtly.
So yeah, he has to make some kind of show of it.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of with Alec on this one. Like, I guess maybe that's why I misread it. If I did misread it, it's that if he really he would accept it to go out, to get out and about, but he would just be like, do whatever you want, man. I just want you to be happy. And I don't think
I don't know if he could also read it that his motivations changed slightly once he actually talked to
You're right. He could grow and evolve, and that's a good thing.
Well, yeah,
right?
that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, well then everyone
can we talk about the one guy? Well, I think his name was Big Time.
Oh my god,
that guy sounded like Anders in Workaholics when he's like trying to go undercover in the high school. He's like, "Damn, what's up with all these books?" Like he was fucking. He's like, "Hey man, you want women? You like his like fucking
a lot of great ball players."
Oh my god! I also like Spike Lee's like he's like, what about the pussy, man? And then Spike Lee has to cut to like people fucking and like, what about the cocaine? And then you got to cut to like this weird like trap house scene. It's like, what the like? We get it, dude. You can just say it. Like,
you know how to spell pussy, don't you? B-Y-H-I-V.
Dude, that guy was fucking so terrible. Like, what the fuck? Like, that whole scene, and it lasted forever, but, like, I could not stop thinking about the Anders, like, code switching voice. Like, that just reminded me so much.
That guy's supposed to be in the movie at some point later and never shows back up because he makes the big, like, I'm the one that keeps you from getting murdered by these motherfuckers, and it just never readdressed.
So that's his bit. That's his like he's protection. Like that's his. I couldn't figure out what his role was, other than he was just like a big so in the neighborhood.
He's also there to explain to white people what happens to young black men that get caught up in the fucking basketball system. Is like I think his actual function in the movie.
So I do have one other question. So at some point it comes out right that Jesus and Mary live in they live in their own apartment. That is paid for by whom, and there's no repercussions for that.
The coach pays for it.
The coach pays for it, right? Okay.
The coach that for some reason, I'm sorry, Sean.
No,
at some reason, the first scene with the coach, he's like talking kind of normal, but then like when he's like trying to convince what's his name to like go to his idea, he turns into like a like super Italian.
What does he even like?
Me and guys could not stop laughing at this. Like, hey, I got my gabagool over here. You got to fucking sign with the gabagool collie.
I know, like, it's like, oh, how would somebody not report or how would they not find out that they're living? But, like, we've all seen, like, how college athletics works and shit like that. Like,
I don't question that at all. Yeah.
But it's weird that, like, Jesus has, like, a very strong, like, moral compass about what is right and wrong. It seems like through a majority of the film,
it's from his mother.
But he says to the coach at the end, he says that was a loan.
You're right. You're right. So he didn't. He thought.
And the coach is,
yeah. And the coach doesn't really seem to have the coach just wants to know where he's going. He doesn't actually ever push him to a direction, right? He doesn't.
He just wants to. He wants to leak it to
make some
like get some clout.
So so then it all keeps going down. He goes to Tech U or whatever. He bangs Chasey Lane and Jill Kelly. We get to have a very fun scene with John Turturro.
That's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
John Turturro is great. He's great in this. Yeah.
And then
it kills me to have such he's such a good actor and everybody else I don't know. I felt like John Turturro was like doing so much work. Like I was like, why isn't he in this movie more? Well, he should have been the first coach.
He should have been Big Time. He should have been Jesus Shuttlesworth. It should have been John Turturro as Jesus Shuttlesworth.
I just love John Turturro, and I thought like that scene where he's just like he did that like there's like one little move where he's like trying to sell the school. And he does like that, like he's dribbling the basketball and does like the head fake. I love that. I was like, that's so great. I don't know.
Then
big ups to John Turturro. That guy is underrated as far as acting goes. That guy's amazing.
As we turn the corner into the third act, Denzel Washington either bangs Mila Jovovich or creams his jeans, and then he has a one-on-one with his son, which he loses by I think like 7 points. And then the cops pick him up. There's a story goes out that he was an escaped convict from Rikers Island, and basically the governor fucked him over. Everyone fucked him over, so he's gonna be in prison the rest of his life. Ray Allen decides to go to Big State University anyway. He makes his announcement via his coach via letter, and then upon hearing that, Jake Shuttlesworth throws a basketball through some sort of interdimensional portal.
I don't have a problem with this. It's artsy. It's fine. It's a metaphor. Like of all my problems with this movie, this wasn't one of them.
And so then that's that. So I guess Jesus made the best decision for him. Jake feels good that his son is out there doing the best he can and trying to make amends for the fact that he fucked up.
So, I pause real quick. Gogs, you made a good point, because there's like the off limits area at the prison was right next to the basketball hoop.
It was right behind it. Like
that ball would go in there constantly. That ball would like never like. Anyway,
well, that's after you missed where Jake sits down with the warden again, and the warden Ned Beatty is hemming and hawing about him actually getting the time off his sentence.
Yeah,
and that's why he walks across the do not cross line on the ground, and the guard is screaming at him to get back so he doesn't have to blow his brains out.
Is the implication that he does he survive that scene, or is the implication that he's committed suicide by cop?
I don't know.
I think he's
survived. I think honestly, I think Gogs is right. I think it's purposefully ambiguous.
Oh, he becomes the basketball and goes to Jesus. And, no, not literally, but like
his soul,
metaphorically,
leaves Attica.
That's how I always read it, because like he knows he's not getting out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like his mission is completed as far as he's concerned.
Well, and then that's it. Then you get to watch a whole bunch of B-roll over one of the greatest original hip hop songs to a movie ever.
You do get to watch Mila Jovovich run around in like a see-through raincoat and a bikini, which is a wonderful visual.
She's that's like a Patrick Bateman special. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
There's something. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say I do love. You can tell Spike Lee's a fucking film student nerd when in this movie, because there's so many references to shit that like people in 1997 were not talking about, like where the pimp's like, "Yeah, baby, you look just like who?" She's like, "Kim Novak." Kim Novak in what? An hour to go? Like, what the fuck conversation?
What was the agent guy?
Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like this one wasn't for me. I'll say that. I just felt like it just like you could have told this story in like 30 minutes. Like you just kind of repeats the same scene like over and over and over again. And like again, if it's a stylistic choice, then that's fine. I mean, like I watch plenty of style. I love Yorgo Lanthimos movies and David Lynch movies.
Again, I know you're not like super into him or super familiar with him. If you go back and watch any of his like older movies, they're all very arch and stylized like this.
I mean, it's probably why I didn't like him.
Yeah,
it's probably I just probably didn't connect with
a lot of direct to camera stuff. Like I think the most egregious is not even in this movie. It's the scene in the 25th Hour where Edward Norton's like, I
hate that movie. No, that movie's
a lot of that. So yeah, if you don't like the style of this movie, you're not gonna like the movie. No matter
also,
what. Like
we didn't really mention it, but there's like a lot of weird cuts in this movie.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of there's a scene where Jesus is talking to his aunt and uncle, and like the aunt is in the middle of a sentence and it cuts to Jesus. There's like a scene where Rosario Dawson is talking to Jesus and her head is one place, and then it cuts and her body is completely, it's like there's like weird, like there's a lot of weird, like just I don't know. It's like he doesn't really care about the editing that much.
You gotta remember too, the guy went to NYU Film School, so there's gonna be a lot of that like kind of art mo stuff in these movies.
I mean, it just looks bad. Like,
I get it.
It's like very like I don't know. Again, like maybe if you're just
I like that shit though. Like I like the weird like players ball insert shots and you know what I'm saying, like all that shit I'm into.
I mean, I like the basketball scenes. Like, I thought those were shot well.
I'm talking about the Pimp Yearbook shot.
Yeah. Anything else you're going to talk about before we get into Five Knuckle Shuffles? Anything else? All right. Alec.
You know, I came into this feeling like I really liked Spike Lee. Because, like, I like Inside Man. I guess I like his more recent stuff. I like Inside Man a lot. I loved Black Klansman. I loved The Five Bloods. But I was going back and looking through his filmography. I was like, you know, I really haven't seen very many Spike Lee movies. Just more, I guess, more recent ones that are more accessible and not conformist, but more like normal movies. They're not as
impenetrable and like obnoxious.
Well, impenetrable and obnoxious, but also they're not as like risky with like his shot, the way he shoots.
Yeah.
Like this past few, like there's no scenes in any of his movies that I like that are 10 minutes of people just talking directly to the camera.
Yeah.
At least that I can remember.
There is in Black Klansman when they're at that rally, there's some scenes like that, but it's
But that guy's literally talking to other people in a room, and the camera's just focused on him.
That's fair.
In this, like all the people asking him for money, like in the future, I guess it's like 5 minutes of people just, "Hey man, give me some money." "Oh, you're my third cousin. I love you, man. Give me some money."
Yeah.
And like one or two of those is fine, but I felt like it went on for like 15 relatives.
Well, yeah, it's like one beat. It's
they're beating you over the head with it the entire movie.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to like this movie a lot because, like, I love basketball and I love basketball movies. But nah, dog, this wasn't for me. I guess I'm going to give it a 4. Like, I just was not a fan. This didn't do it for me. Early Spike Lee is not my jam. But I do remember liking Bamboozled, but I haven't seen that in a long time.
That is like even more like Spike Lee-ish. So maybe, I don't know, go back and watch it. But it is like all weird camera transitions and shit.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that when I had my ACL surgery after the senior year of high school. Yeah. And I literally was just in my basement watching movies all summer long. Every other day, my mom would take me to Hollywood Video, and I would rent like 5 new movies.
That sounds awesome.
I mean, it was.
That sounds so good, man.
A very kind of like shocking movie for like a youngish white dude to watch, like the subject matter.
I'm sure I didn't get it. Like, I know I didn't get it because I can barely remember it. I just remember finding it entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially a youngish white dude from Carroll County who just graduated high school and a graduating class of 500 people that had 4 black kids.
Yeah. But we still almost had a race war, if you remember that.
I do.
Yeah.
That was fucking stupid.
TJ.
It's a 5 for me. However, it's just because of the amount of tit and the funniest death scene I've ever seen in a film. So that literally gives it a 3-point bump. Because I didn't like this movie at all. But big ups to Chasey Lane and Jill Kelly who have cameos in this movie. 90s porn royalty.
It's adorable how you can tell how uncomfortable Ray Allen is in that scene.
Well, it's funny, right? Because like they shoot a lot of it where he's not even on on screen.
Yeah.
Like so, like you could tell he was really uncomfortable with it. But like, I don't know that. Like also that entire sequence at Tech University or whatever is fucking hilarious. Like I'm sure it's it's like everything else in this movie, right? It's there's truth to it, but it's like amplified like 1,000,000%. But like literally just like what's his name? Rick Fox has just like a harem of like white girls that are just like ready to fuck like immediately. It's like, God,
Have you seen that guy though?
Oh, Rick Fox? Yeah, I'm sure that was probably, like I said, it's pretty close to reality. It's amplified, but it's pretty close. But yeah, tits aside and hilarious, like literally side splitting, like I really wish, like, I might actually, this movie might prompt me to learn how to actually do, like, video editing so I can do, like, what YouTube people do and add, like, funny, like, sound effects and shit, because I really want to re-edit that scene and add, like the fucking, like, I don't know, some kind of goofy video game death sound effect or something, or, like, the
Mario dying or something.
The wasted font, like, from, like, Grand Theft Auto when you die or something.
Or do the Mega Man.
Or
do the fade in from like fucking like Dark Souls, like
that would be the you died, that would be good. But other than that, I mean, I'm sorry, like I found the acting to just be like, that to me was impenetrable. Like it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't. It's very long, and the scenes are just the same scene over and over and over again, and the acting is horrible, and I can't focus on anything else but what's in front of me. And I had a hard time like getting through this movie. I don't know. Denzel Washington's good in it. Like I thought it was nice because we've been kind of hard on him on the podcast. I didn't like him in Training Day. I obviously didn't like him in Deja Vu, but he's good in this. Like he really does. I think he's like a solid core to this movie. I just feel like he's kind of wasted with like a bunch of really bad actors. Also, his subplot with Mila Jovovich, I felt like could have just been completely cut out. Like I guess it like, you know, he's obviously like he's lonely and it's about him like reconnecting and trying to be, you know, trying to be more compassionate or whatever, but it doesn't. I don't know. To me,
it's just save the cat plot line.
But like by the end of it, it's just like who gives a fuck? Like I don't know. It was, and also the scenes between him and Mila Jovovich were fucking obnoxious. Like Mila Jovovich is terrible in this. Like, oh, you think you're smart? You think you're smart? Like, how many times are you gonna say that, bitch? Like, goddamn.
There ain't no free pussy. Yeah,
oh my god,
terrible in most things.
She's I mean, she's hot. I'm not gonna take that away from her. She's fucking gorgeous. Also, Gogs and I, like, how old do you think Mila Jovovich is?
I know the answer, so I'm not gonna say nothing.
No, like just like
IRL.
In real life, how old is Mila Jovovich?
She's like our age, right? Like 40
or 47.
Yeah, I think she's 45.
45, yeah.
I always assumed I thought she was like 50 something. I thought she was much older than us, but no, she's like our age. But anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. This one wasn't for me. I don't think I ever saw this movie. But I have seen a smattering of other Spike Lee movies from this period, and I think this just goes as to why I wasn't a big fan of him. I don't like his writing style. I don't like his directing style. I hated the music in this movie. The music, which we talked about briefly in the beginning, the music is like the most distracting thing in this entire movie for me. Like the music that he picks doesn't match the scenes he puts it in. And I found that obnoxious. Like, I don't know. But again, like when you get the Public Enemy soundtrack, it's good. Like it works. Like it flows with what's going on. Like there's a I think it's a KRS-One song where
it's both, yeah.
Is it Public Enemy featuring KRS-One? Yeah. Well, that song plays when Denzel Washington is looking for his son, and he's like, you know, it's like it works. It flows with the scene. But then you got you know, fucking Duel of the Fates playing when two characters are fucking just talking on a bench. It's like, what the fuck am I watching? I don't know. I hated this movie, but again, I am a sucker for tits, and there's plenty of tits in this movie. You almost see Rosario Dawson's tits. You see some random people's tits when they just talk about sex, because you have to be reminded what sex is as an audience.
Yeah, it's very Luc Besson.
Yeah. I also think I came away from this thinking that Spike Lee's just a fucking pervert, which I respect.
Yeah.
And also that death scene is fucking, like, I can't stress enough how funny I found that death scene. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So funnier than anything in the comedies that we've watched on this show, for sure. Who hasn't gone yet? The two of you haven't
Sean
gone
and
yet.
I.
We'll leave Sean for last because he's gonna like this more than anybody. Gogs.
It's also a 5 for me, but for different reasons. So I hold 5s in like the, you know, 5s are like the forgettable category, and I had seen this movie previously. I thought I'd seen this movie. I think I owned this movie, and I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I thought I remembered liking it. But as I was watching it, I didn't remember anything from huge chunks of it. I did not recall. I recalled like the Chasey Lane scene. I didn't recall any like the breakout scene or how he got screwed over in the end. So I think in a lot of ways it's just kind of like you get beat over the head with the message of people are going to come at people only want to use you for what you can do for them, like over and over and over. That's the whole point of the movie, I guess. And once you've kind of taken that message in, like you don't need to hear about it for an hour and 20 straight minutes in the middle of the film. And then nothing. I mean, not a lot happens. Like Ray Allen's character doesn't really develop much at all over the course of the movie. I guess it's not about his character's development. I guess it's about Denzel's character's development. But like
this would have been a better movie if something happened to Ray Allen. Not necessarily him dying at the end, but something happened that costs him his dreams.
Like he keeps the watch or something. Like
there was some sort of that's a great point. Like there was some sort of conflict that he fucked up and he needs to make amends, or something happened that he couldn't. Right. That's more interesting. But he's almost like he's a Mary Sue in this whole thing, basically.
God,
he is like he doesn't know anything wrong. I mean, what he does wrong, he doesn't do that wrong, and even the stuff he does wrong, he turns out fine. Like he doesn't like. It's
can I jump in real quick? There's one thing I wanted to mention before we get too far away. There's something that happens in this movie that it really bothered me, and it's a weird, and like I know this sounds like woke patrol or whatever, but like Denzel Washington is suspicious of Rosario Dawson knowing nothing about her other than the fact it's like, well, she's a woman, and then of course Rosario Dawson is cheating and like is deceitful. It's like it's a weird beat that this movie has. Like, there's no like conflict.
Every woman in this movie, unless they're related to Ray Allen, is awful in some way or another.
Well, even the people that are related to Ray Allen, like Uncle Bubba's, like not like the only woman.
I said woman.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess like his aunt, right? Like I guess I was saying earlier, his aunt's the only person genuinely seems to care about him, and I guess his sister
and his mother.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird beat that this movie got. Like, I don't know, that scene where like Rosario Dawson calls Jesus at like 2 a.m. She's like, you got to talk to this agent or whatever, while she's fucking the guy. It's like, all right, man. Like,
yeah, that's not like, yeah. But so, I mean, like there's things about this movie I like. There's aspects. I feel like this movie could have told the same story in a different way, and I would have liked it better. They could have added more to Ray Allen's character. They could have cast someone else besides Ray Allen. I don't know. I was like, as we were talking about it, like I didn't hate it. Like it didn't make me mad. But it's just kind of like, it's just going to kind of fade into like, whatever, the ethereal, the 5 territory. I don't know if it would be, I can't tell if this would be a good idea or a bad idea. If the movie, like if this movie was made now, would they shoot it like a big fake 30 for 30 documentary? And would that be better or worse? I don't know.
I mean, there's parts of that in this movie.
They fuck with it a little bit, but like, I mean, like the whole thing. Like they kind of like they go to like John Thompson. They go to like, But yeah, I mean it's a 5. Like
they go to Dick Vitale and Gogs like flip the fuck out because Gogs hates Dick Vitale.
I fucking hate Dick Vitale.
But you love Dick Vitale's awesome baby college hoops.
Remember that game?
Yeah, I sure do.
But yeah, like I'm saying, I'm not mad at the movie. It's just like they do a bunch of stuff I don't care for, and I feel like there's a better. It could have been, there's a better way to tell this story, and you can make it a little more interesting with it, and a better cast. There's like a lot of better things. This is like a first draft.
I want the Safdie brothers to make this movie.
Yeah, I'll watch that. I'd like to watch Spike Lee now make this movie. I bet he'd probably do it different.
You want the Heaven Knows Why version of this?
Yes,
movie?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it's a 5 for me. Sean?
It's an 8 for me, dog. Like, again, I went into this loving this movie. It's I don't disagree with almost anything anybody said about this movie. Like, don't get it twisted. But it's stylistically, I like it, and it is a vulgar movie about a vulgar subject full of like vulgar performances. Like, there's nothing redeeming about almost anything in this movie. It's an almost like only God forgives, because even Jesus Shuttlesworth is not particularly likable You know what I mean? Like, even in his big moment to forgive his father, he passes a note along for somebody else to read. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's, like, I know it's like, it seems like he doesn't do anything wrong, but it's like, he almost beats the shit out of his sister on several occasions. He screams at his shitty uncle. He, like, he's not, like...
Yeah, but at the same time, his shitty uncle, like, his shitty uncle is like, don't we deserve something for what we
his
gave
character,
up raising
like,
you?
I forgive his character for being basically abused by everyone throughout the entire movie.
But again, like, he doesn't have, like, any kind of, like, really redemptive arc. Like, I think someone mentioned he doesn't change at all. But he's, like, almost, like, defiantly a prick, and, like, which I guess, if somebody murdered my mother, I'd be pretty upset about it.
Well, if someone murdered your mom and seemed like they only gave a shit about you for what you could do for them, I mean, I imagine you'd be a prick to everyone too. And like that's his whole life. It's not like he also has nothing to redeem from, right? Like you said, there's no redemption arc.
Like when we say he's like this Mary Sue that doesn't do anything wrong, he does tons of shit wrong in the movie. It's just like you empathize with him because of his backstory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
But yeah, like it's not subtle. I mean, he doesn't make subtle movies. The Public Enemy soundtrack, which like I have a hard time separating from the movie, even though it's not in it as much as it should, bangs. Like I enjoy and this is why I thought maybe Alec would like it a little bit more. Just all like it's a big nostalgia trip for me too, because it's got John Thompson and Dean Smith and Reggie Miller gets interviewed, and knowing the history between Reggie Miller and Spike Lee, like there's a lot of like kind of inside baseball about inside basketball that I like. But yeah, I'm a fan of his movies, like almost in total. Like She's Gotta Have It sucks. There's a couple things I'm not fond of. The Old Boy remake's not good. But he's also only 33 when this movie comes out. I think he was 25 when he made Do the Right Thing. So like it's kind of cringy and like almost a little like very edgelordy prior to that being an actual diagnosis.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
like the whole big time scene is like so fucking cringy edgelord. But like he's a young man making a movie about shit, and like it's not sensational about the way like young athletes are treated. Like it's pretty on the nose. I mean, look at the Laramie Tunsil story. Watch the like SB Nation did like a 3-hour documentary about it. Like the shit that they did to that kid. So, but again, I realize the performances are very bizarre, but like I fielded that same kind of like, why is everybody acting like this for Mulholland Drive and a million and fucking The Lobster? Not saying that the performances are as good in this as they are in those movies, but they definitely have their own kind of pitch to it. So like I can overlook a lot of this stuff. And like I said, A for me, it's not perfect. It's too long. They have some takes that go on fucking forever. When he's busting a nut on the Ferris wheel is
oh my god, yeah. I was just the whole time I was thinking about the carny that's down there like operating the wheel like yeah.
But no, I really like this
or
movie.
just getting jizz dripped on him. No, it's raining. Oh, wait, that's not rain.
That's not. It must be the cicadas.
Seagulls.
But yeah, like, and I also understand the fucking want to name your kid after your heroes. But like, if I had a kid, I would name it Commander Shepard. Like, I get this whole movie. So yeah, and again, this is right for me before Denzel Washington collapses into Christopher Walken self-parody. Because I think like the Hurricane comes out not long after this, and then it's just like it's over with for him as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an 8.
All right. Well, whose pick is it next week? Oh, also for all our new listeners, because we got a big bump because of that fucking Zack Snyder should put a movie out every week. We would be able to get advertisers. If you're listening to this for the first time after Army of the Dead, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on our podcast feed, hopefully at some point Vinny will figure out why we're not on Spotify.
It's because Rogan won't let us.
I don't know. Well, if you're listening through like straight through the website, we're available on all of the podcast aggregates except for Spotify. I don't know what the hell's wrong with Spotify. It's fucking weird. But I will continue to upload all the shows to YouTube as well. So, who's got next week's pick? But yeah, Army of the Dead. Our Army of the Dead show did very well for us.
I've got a pick. So,
did Zack Snyder make any basketball movies? Apparently, people love to listen to people talk about Zack Snyder movies. I was like, God damn.
Because it was amazing.
Oh my God! Yeah, you know what? I agree with you now. Like it was like double the numbers of any of our other shows.
Do you think Zack Snyder sits around waiting for acoustic covers of old songs to show up so he can write a movie around that acoustic
I don't know,
cover?
but now every time I hear a song, I'm like, I should cover this acoustically and make a joke about it. Like every fucking song.
You think
Like
he just like haunts coffee houses waiting for somebody to like?
But he's waiting for inspiration. He's like, yeah, this will be. I'll write a whole movie around this song.
I was listening to like Firestarter by Prodigy. I was like, I could play like a little like acoustic accompaniment over this.
I had the same. I can't for life of me remember what the song was. I was listening to something earlier today. I was
Smack my bitch up.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, where's the? Yeah, it's the acoustic version of "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor," and I'm sure.
Oh, that's gotta be a thing. That has, but yeah. Oh, we could definitely do that.
Yeah.
We need a girl though. Those
just Lisa Loeb saying nothing's
like
wrong
a
with
soft-spoken girl.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, Lisa Loeb is in like a Geico commercial right now, and she looks exactly the same.
It's amazing.
It's holding up.
So hot. Like
she's from Bethesda.
Oh my God.
Local girl.
Well, let's get her. Let's get her on the show.
Zack Snyder did direct a basketball movie.
What?
Oh, watch that then.
A made-for-video mix of highlights of Michael Jordan from the 80s with a fantasy storyline of a high school teen named Walt, who has been cut from his basketball team.
Is it Walt Williams?
Walt gets lessons from Michael Jordan himself on the magical playground known as Michael Jordan's Playground.
Sounds amazing.
Is there a rape scene in it?
Probably.
What's it called, Alec?
Playground.
Anyway.
And it is directed by Zack Snyder from 1990.
Who's got a pick ready?
I do.
Gogs, what's your pick?
The Air Up There.
Oh God.
Oh no. Is that with
Is that the kids movie?
Kevin Bacon.
No, that's
Kevin Bacon goes to Africa to like recruit
an African.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not going to be problematic.
It's going to be problematic as hell. It's going to be real bad.
And if I recall correctly, it's straight up like almost bone through the nose. Type
Oh no, it
shit.
is. It's like it's.
Yeah.
I think it's bone through the nose on the cover. If memory.
Oh, look
serves.
at the cover is. Yeah, the cover is already bad. Just from Jump Street, the cover.
Oh boy,
is bad.
can't wait to lose all those new listeners over that.
He didn't make the movie.
His name in it is Jimmy Dolan. Is there a more like
Wait,
down on his luck coach?
Jimmy. Isn't there I swear to God, that name sounds very familiar.
You're thinking of... It was Jimmy something was the coach in the Replacements.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Sean, you got anything to plug?
No, the fucking... What was the name of Tom Hanks' character in fucking A League of Their Own? It's like Jimmy Dugan?
Yeah, that's
something very close.
That's it. That's a good movie. There's no crying in baseball.
I like that movie. I like that movie.
There's no fapping in baseball.
Don't get the clap, Jimmy Dugan.
He fucking signed that thing for the kid.
Yeah, that's a solid movie. Also, like prime Lori Petty. Big fan.
Yeah.
Another local girl.
Is she?
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Local girl done good.
I wanted to fuck her badly, and then she got past about 35, and now she like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Back in her prime, she would have been oh no. Oh,
yeah, there it is.
Gogs just posted an image from the Air Up There, and this is going to be a ride, folks.
Strap in.
Can we get a black person on so like they can take the brunt of this and say like just talk about the movie? Because I don't
think anybody's gonna watch it. But like, you know what? That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. We're just gonna be shitting on it.
I feel a little worried of four white guys talking about this fucking movie, but we'll see. Oh yeah, well, Haffy. Sorry.
Yeah. There we go. Brace yourselves, people.
I forgot. I forgot we're a podcast, a POC podcast.
There's a line where he's like in his like fucking thick whatever fake Nigerian patois. The guy's like, they say that flies fly over our town upside down because it's not worth shitting on. And Kevin Bacon goes, "Don't tell me about places not worth shitting on. I'm from Buffalo." I do remember that.
Damn. That's the I'm a Clippers fan of the old 90s movies. That show.
Fuck, is that a Bewitched reference?
It is. Good
Ooh.
job, Sean. All right, everybody, that's the show. Go eat your own ass, and just remember, we're woke after next week.
And Crank went out to Jill Kelly. She probably needs the
Hell
love.
yeah!
Like, who's talking
Go
about
through
her
the
a lot?
classics, man. Like 90s Vivid Video. Still good. Still good.
Still good.
All right, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yes. Bye bye.
God, the air up there. Jesus. Is it on?